shared with you when another congressional subcommittee on foreign affairs hearing was up, and it is about these killings in Nigeria as well. And they also concluded that they would be, meeting with the President of the United States of America, President Trump, to ensure that a further action, what we actually don't know what they will be. So this time it is going to be the battle of what the $9 million can do in helping to ensure that Donald Trump doesn't take any further action. Because the effort of Nigerian government is actually not to end the killings in that sense. For them, it is to try to stop the embarrassing, posture, the embarrassing picture that the U.S. government's action against the terrorists in Nigeria seems to look like. The outlook is what they are trying to prevent. Because according to them, Nigeria, that big country, can look so weak and so helpless. But they've got money. The money to change the narrative, not the money to really end the problem. So now they are reporting the Nigerian military have been at the Nigerian Air Force bombing some of these terrorist locations. Again, the real terrorists, the Fulani terrorists, they are the ones who have entered the nooks and crannies of the country, and they have turned the entire country upside down when it comes to these kidnappings, ransom. As far as Edo State, within concern Fulanis and the Edo people, they don't share any border. They have no border shared together, but because they are part of this Nigeria, right? So the people of Edo State are paying ransoms to terrorists as well, and almost all over the country. So it is not what America wants to do. It is what the government of Nigeria is refusing to do. They said it's because of politics, which has brought nothing but misery right from 1914 amalgamation, right? Elder Ayo Badokun.
The story of the country called Nigeria, first of all, I put this for the opting time. Nigeria is a creation of the gun. If gun was not discovered by the Chinese between the 9th and the 12th century, and after it got into the Middle East and Europe in the 13th to the 15th century, and the Europeans then developed the inordinate ambition for colonialism and then discovered North America, Asian countries, and Africa. And they came with the superiority of their gunpowder to ravage, to ridicule, to tyrannize, to blackmail, to kill, and then eliminate Nigerian natives, over 350 ethnic nationalities. So the gun had been here. It was through the superiority of the gunpowder that the place they amalgamated in 1914 was created. That is the first thing. The second is that the military could only tolerate civilian administration, which was working relatively reasonably. Between 1960 and 1966, they could only tolerate the civilian administration for just 5 years plus. And since they intervened at their first coming, they spent 13 years. In their second coming, they spent 15 years. So in military uniform, they spent 28 years. And when we, the activists, put pressure on them to force them to go to the barracks, they imposed their former military commander-in-chief upon us in the name of General Obasanjo, who spent 8 years, and General Buhari, who spent another 8 years. 8 years plus 8 years, 16 years plus 28 means 44 years. And I just remind Nigerians again that when the army took over on 15th of January 1966, Alhaji Aliyu Shehu Shagari was the Minister of Works. But it was unto him they handed over power in 1979. General Obasanjo knew that President Umaru Yar'Adua was challenged medically. Yet, he forced him on the country and brought a relatively innocent person who was just coming from the classroom and trying to govern a Bayelsa state to come and be his running mate.
Right.
So that is to say that even the civilians who were in the Integragnum were chosen by the military.
Okay,
And
well,
for about 13 years.
Right.
13 plus 44 with 57 years out of 66 years post-independence of Nigeria. The story of the
bottom line, Shai, is that they have a name for the last part. It is called democracy. The democracy where election doesn't really count, where people have no real power other than what is decided by those in power. They say people's power is bigger or stronger than the people in power, not in Nigeria, or maybe not even in Uganda. Let's go to Uganda. I'll show you something, right? They had their own presidential election yesterday. Prior to that, it's been almost like a war to campaign against Museveni. Yoweri Museveni is the former military guy that took over power in a coup in 1986. I was just about 18 or 20 months old baby when he took over power in 1986. And this was like 40 years ago, right? So Museveni has then managed to stay in power all this while. So they had an election yesterday against a young contender, popularly known as Bobby Wine. So usually it is only in Uganda. I haven't seen it elsewhere per se. Okay, it's only in Uganda that I've seen somebody who is the main presidential opposition. Okay, sorry. In the presidential election, the main opposition, right, will be treated like he's just a common riders, a chairman, sort of. But this is the guy who is seen as the major opposition to the old man. But the old man believes that he is probably like a choosing in a way, you know, that there is no one else that can actually really rule Uganda or probably loves Uganda the way he does. So he is a full-time dictator. So they have their own Gen Z who have been using the social media lately to mobilize and trying to challenge the status quo. And they did try to. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few things leading to their elections, and the aftermath of their election. And this is what democracy looked like, at least in one of the African countries too, that is captured on camera. When the election was ongoing, the government, like in Nigeria, right, they didn't switch off the election results platform. They switched off the internet of the entire country, or almost the entire country. They shut down the internet for some hours until when everything was done, ready and sorted, and then the results started coming up. Then there's no difference in the way they run this. This is why they say democracy sometimes, maybe democracy is not even for Africa. When the Sky News met with Museveni just a few days before the elections, right? And he was asked, you know, that why is he still running? You know, like the young people probably want change, they want something different and all that. His answer was like, why wouldn't they want him?
If I'm available, not dead, not senile, but I'm still around, and I have some knowledge. If you are really serious about your country, why would you not want to take advantage of me if I'm still able?
I mean, what do you think of the young people who do want change, who want someone else to govern? Do you think that that's not sensible? That was what you wanted as a rebel leader.
No, me, I did not. I was actually dying to work with old people because we needed them. Unless you are not serious, these problems are big problems. And if you have got a big problem, the more hands, the better.
Youth unemployment, it's still very high, and young people feel like they need more opportunities. And when an internet shutdown happens, they feel repressed, they feel silenced because the internet is a tool of the youth. What are you offering them substantially over the next 5 years?
We are the ones who built the internet, the one you are talking about. We are the ones who built it. So the shutting it down is because of dealing with criminals who want to use that infrastructure to destabilize our country. It is temporary, it is short term, but we're the ones who built the internet.
Do you believe there hasn't been a single candidate that could take your place in the last 6 election cycles?
They cannot, they would have been elected if they were there. They were not elected.
I mean, every election since 1996 has been marred by accusations of rigging, of repression, of crushing opposition and voices of dissent.
The only people who rig are the opposition. It is not us.
But then they would have won if they'd rigged it.
They are not able to, because we are so popular, that even if they rig, they can't manage to overturn or defeat us. We are so popular.
President Museveni, I want to ask you about your main contender, Bobi Wine. Your government has targeted him quite aggressively since 2018. Why? What threat does he pose to Uganda?
Bobi Wine breaks the law. That's why there are other people in opposition. You don't find having problems with them. But if you take each case, you'll find that he's breaking the law.
But why the violence? Why the violence from your security forces?
Yeah, it is Bobi Wine who is violent.
I mean, his supporters have been beaten with batons. One has been shot in the head.
The beating was a mistake, but the Bobi Wine, you see, for these towns here are quite crowded. So we don't encourage processions or rallies in the towns, on the streets.
You've ruled Uganda for half your life. Are you planning to rule for the rest of your life?
Yes. You know, so that is the strong man of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, a man that is believed not to actually speak. And, something like the way they speak as well, all right? They were speaking to me, they were asking one of his own aides, they were asking him of why the internet got shut down. Like, that's crazy. So Museveni believes, okay, that there are some external interests that have been trying to work with the opposition in taking over Uganda and Uganda to the West. So he's managed to build an anti-West in that sentiment. So if you are opposing Museveni, you are considered as a stooge of the West, probably being sponsored by the West. So it's kind of like the easy line of their argument. So they were asking one of his aides, like, why would they turn off the internet in the whole country? Simply because they didn't want anybody from outside to know what is going on. Because if they had allowed it, possibly maybe the reactions to the rigging, the suppression and all of that stuff, which most of them are captured on cameras, they were not uploaded immediately then, until after the elections, and then they turned back the internet back on. We started now uploading what transpired, but then it's too late. Museveni said they were planning to replicate what happened in Kenya in his country. So his own prevention is to make sure that the Gen Z have no access to the internet, not during the election, not before, during, maybe after. So somebody who claimed to be the president's aide was asked, why did you turn off the internet? You want to know what he said? Like their president, right? Their president said, we built the internet, so which means it is owned by government. So if we turn it off, so are we not the one who built it and gave it to people? Kind of. in the UK, right? I don't know about the US. So in the UK, I've been at the European Union, it's been voted that having access to a very fast internet is a fundamental human right. Do you understand what that means, right? Like government must provide it. I don't know about Nigeria. I mean, I don't know about Uganda. When they asked this aid, they said, your parent didn't ask your mother, did your mother use the internet? So he said, the internet stopped working in Uganda during the elections because a ship broke the optic fiber cable at the Mombasa Sea. Like their president is quite hilarious.
You did talk about
regards to internet. Internet, initially UCC said they had switched off, probably for security reasons. But then the latest I'm getting from my friends in Mombasa, a ship was passing by, it hit an internet cable into two. So they are trying to locate the other piece to connect it.
Honorable, that is information we cannot justify right now, but because the UCC did release a letter that all Ugandans are actually following right now.
That is okay.
Even if
Internet will be reinstated. The person who brought internet is the person you have voted. That is one of the gains you have. Did you have internet in 1986? Did you have it? Did your mother tell you that they had internet? But it was the country not running.
But things are changing, Honorable. We are moving in a world that is digital.
It's just a matter of days, maybe 2 weeks or 1 week, or they are working, our technicians are working to restore it. Let us trust in the president. The one who brought it will restore it. He's working around the clock. Our technicians are working closely. So what UCC told you, they have a right to tell you, and the facts that we know, as people who work in that telecom sector, we know that the cable was affected. And they are restoring it, they are fixing it.
How do you justify this? Why does this happen in this electoral process?
You know, the problem with you young people, you're wasting a lot of time on TikTok instead of listening to the message of the president. And those ones who have listened to the message of the president have voted him overwhelmingly. Can I tell you, the president won in Arua Central. He has never won in Arua Central. For all the times we have had elections in Uganda, he has never won in Arua Central. He's the winner of Arua Central. Arua, what we call Central Division. He's the one who won. So people are loving the president.
If you think it is only in Nigeria that you have people who are intentionally, they will be intentionally like dumb. They are not dumb. It takes creativity to be a national food, because to ensure that your own source of feeding remains sort of like intact. Abby, let's go on the national TV and tell them a ship cut internet cable into two. It cut internet cable into two. So our technician are fixing it. Our technicians are working and fixing it. Maybe a one week or 2 weeks, they will do it. Where was internet in 1990s, 1986? Yeah, was the country not running? They quickly changed it to, oh, you have voted for the man that gave you internet. It's work around the clock to give you internet. Oh, Mr. President never won election. And that's how they behave. It takes a special skill. And they have them all over the place. Usually, right, these clowns are mostly limited to their countries, but with the internet, you young people, you don't listen to the president. You spend too much time on TikTok. You don't listen to president because president said he's working to bring the internet, and people have voted for him to bring internet. They bring internet in 1 or 2 weeks. They don't care if their action, because this is it, the winning formula. There's this guy from Zimbabwe. He's very famous. He's also participating in Nigeria election, your Tinubu's re-election. You're going to see more of him. He was in Abuja in December. This big, massive guy like that is from Zimbabwe. They said he's a specialist when it comes to this tech, rigging, true text, and the rest of that. And he's cashing out from different African industries. They told them, turn off the internet. But it's going to affect businesses. forget about business. If businesses are going to lose, they will gain later. Turn off the internet so that you can control what is released and what is viewed. And that's exactly what happened. Then, because Bobby Wine himself is considered very much like an easy target, always is their target. So they said the day before the election, they had to get him to somewhere safe because he's been accused